All right, party people, it is time to update Throwback 30. Before I get started, you know I'm going to ask you to please do all of the things. You know what they are. Okay, so Throwback 30 is a Fantastic Ladies group project that is kind of spearheaded and thought of initially by Jessica Lee. What she does is she takes a whole list of projects that the brilliant ladies of the Fantastic Ladies group have come up with and puts them out there for us to vote on. The reason she does this is because it is impossible to get to every single project that we all want to do, no matter how hard we try. And the FOMO is real. You guys know this. So this project, this version of it, started July 28th, 2022, is ending next month, July 28th. We have 1 month until the finale, you guys. Now, the thing you need to know about this to find other people's videos is it's hashtag Throwback30 projectpan, 30 being the numbers. Should have been on the screen for you. We are supposed to be doing monthly updates on this, give or take, you know how things go. But we do have a little bit of stuff to discuss, so I figured I would give you an update. All right, I still have the project Budget Beauty in. Oh wait, did I actually mention the reason that you have to be part of the Fantastic Ladies with this is because so many of these are prompt-based projects that the only way to actually pick the prompt from the project is to be part of the group. Okay, now let's get on with what I have. So Budget Beauty, which is a budget item. I had brought in the Wet n Wild Lip Sleeping Mask. This is the lavender one. I brought this in new last July, and I still have about half of it left. So I'm getting there, but I've been slacking on this. I do need to kick it into gear to see if I can get this one done by the finale. Initially, it was 27.6 grams. I weighed it today. It's 24.5, which doesn't seem like a whole lot of progress, but I think most of the weight is the container. So hopefully we'll be able to get that done. Okay, then we had food for thought. So this was anything food related. I had the Glamlight Hershey's Kiss palette that's reflective as can be in milk chocolate. My goal on this was to use each pan 3 times, and I did get more than just that because I did use it in the palette bingo collab, if you guys saw that one. And finally, I managed to get each of these pans used. This is what it looks like. It's gorgeous. We're gonna, even with my weird brace on, we're gonna swatch. So these are just numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know, just like normal. So we're gonna give you the first 4. Oh my gosh, these are so pretty. And then we're going to clean the hand off. Harder to do swatches on the thumb when I've got the brace on because I really don't have the mobility, which is good. I need to not have the mobility because I tweaked my stupid thumb again. So those are the last 2. And that's what it looks like. So 6 to 1 because I do things weird. I don't know. But anyway, this is an absolutely amazingly gorgeous, lovely, lovely item. I am thrilled that I have it. I am glad to be rolling it back into my collection. And oh, these browns are just awesome. So that is a completed prompt, which means we're getting down there. All right, then I had Let's Get Loose, a loose item. I have a lot of loose items. They just scare the crap out of me. My first Notoriously Morbid order was an oops. I didn't realize I was getting loose pigments and not getting pressed eyeshadows. So that's what we've got in here for this. This is part of the Woodland Critter Christmas. This color is Little Poof Ball Hat. You guys have seen this before. You've seen me swatch it before. Okay. Oh yeah, I think you're already seeing all of the good sparkles in there. And if I tip this too much, I'll dump it all over my computer and I don't want to do that. So that is what it looks like in the jar. And see if I can get, okay. So that's just smearing from the cap. Oops, I'm making a mess. So it is pretty, it's not what I'm wearing today, but it's pretty darn vibrant, and it is hard for me to control this. So I finally hit my 5th use on this. Thank goodness I only put it in for 5. This is going to go back into my collection, and it's going to probably sit there for a while until I figure out exactly what I want to do with it. I like it. I don't love it. It makes a mess. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't made any decisions. But for the purposes of this project, it is completed. So that is another rollout at least. Okay, then I've got the really boring and bad news. Pan is old as time, my oldest palette. So it's that Mary Kay quad in, well, it actually just has 4 shades in it. It's got cream, opal, sable, and bittersweet. My goal was to hit pan in every one, and I've made no progress on hitting pan in those last 2. Oh, I did that strangely, but those are the last 2 shades that I need to get some pan on. And you can see it goes really well. It's not quite the same as the Glam Light, but it's kind of close, and it goes really well with all of those colors too. So it's definitely my color story. It's definitely a nice enough palette. I just haven't been wearing a lot of browns. All right. So that's going to stand. We'll see if I can maybe get some more usage and maybe hit another pan. Hopefully 2. That would be awesome if I could hit pan in both of those before next month, but don't hold your breath. All right. And then Tiny Pans was the last thing I still had in. That's that Lancome color design palette. This one's Gold Bold. And honestly, I'm not tremendously disappointed because I do have 3 pans in here, but my goal was to finish this. And I don't think that's going to happen either, but we'll give you a swatch of the 3 that I actually have anything left in, because I do have a couple parts of it empty. So, I mean, for me, that's great. I'm getting some good usage. But those are the 3 shades that are left in there. And this is supposed to be cranberry, you guys. It's coming off brown. And that's my problem with it. Oh, jeez. Is that, I made a mess, is that it does just look too brown. It doesn't give me that burgundy cranberry beautiful iciness that I want it to. And I think that's the problem. So what I've got left is kind of boring, kind of neutral, but you know, we're going to see how far we can get. We're going to see if we can do something with this ridiculousness and hopefully then have something more fun for the finale. I know, I told you this wouldn't be a long one. So I literally completed 2 more. I have 3 out of the 30 left. I have got these 3. All right, so we're going to have to see how far I can get on these 3, if I can meet my goals or not. But you know what? Even if I don't, I'm not going to be tremendously disappointed, simply because not only did I set all this up when I was here last July and started it, I put in small things and minis, and I pretty much have gotten through all of them. And then I added more when I got down to Arizona. So I've completed more than 30 items, not full size, granted, for most of them, but I have completed more than 30 items with this project alone. So if you're looking at July to July, that's not a bad thing. That's a few items out of my collection. I'm pretty happy with all of that. All right, so then that means we get to move on to the music moment. This one's random. I didn't have a tremendously good thought out reason. I heard the song on the radio when I was out running to Walmart earlier, and I'm like, I really like this song. And I'm hearing it played on the radio fairly regularly. So let's go ahead and talk about it. I'm talking about the song called So-Called Life from the band 3 Days Grace. Now, 3 Days Grace has been around since 92, but from 1992 to 1995, they were known as Groundswell. Then they changed their name, became 3 Days Grace, and they have been together the whole time. They still have like the original singer and frontman and all that kind of stuff. They are from Norwood, Ontario. So a Canadian band. They have done, oh, geez Louise. They have done, oh my goodness. They did disband, I'm sorry. They did disband in 95, but regrouped in 97 under the current name. My apologies. They have not been consistently together. There was a 2-year hiatus before they became 3 Days Grace. Oops. So, Canadian band. All right. Here's how the genres are labeled, and I don't necessarily agree with this. Post-grunge. Well, I guess. Hard rock. Yeah, I can go with that. Alternative metal. More like diet metal, like the mainstream metal, the stuff that you get if you have like a rock metal station in your area that plays it. Alternative rock and new metal. And I still am not super fond of the term new metal, but that's just a me thing. All right. Let's see. They are currently signed to RCA Records. They have released 7 studio albums. The 7th one is the one that this song is off of. We'll talk just a little bit more about that. They've had really big hits. They have done super well in both Canada and the US. They've been nominated for like, oh my gosh, best video, best band, I think. I mean, they're pretty widely recognized. And it's weird because they're not one that I like hear about constantly. But when you look at like where their singles are reaching, I think they're tied with like Shinedown for the amount of number one singles they've had or something like that. I mean, they're right up there with the other big name bands that you probably hear a little bit more about. All right, so the song So-Called Life, actually, I said it's off the 7th studio album, which is called Explosions. And this is their, November 2021 release, so not quite into 2022. The song isn't super, super old yet. It was the most played song on rock radio in 2022. So maybe they're getting more traction in other areas. Three Doors Down, 3 Days Grace, these guys have all kind of been around the same amount of time, and I kind of hear about the same amount of stuff from them. I've always heard more about Shinedown, Linkin Park, Avenged Sevenfold. I mean, there's a lot more stuff that I guess I'm hearing the names of the bands more with the other stuff that's being played on what is my local kind of metal station. That's what I call it. I don't know if it's actually technically even a metal station. We have a classic rock, and then we have kind of the hard rock, which I call the metal one, if that makes sense. It's different in Arizona. There I have, what have I got there? The Mountain and, I can't remember, but there's a couple of stations down there too. They play some weird tracks off of things that like catch my ear every once in a while because they're not playing all the stuff that gets your normal radio rotation. Not a bad thing, let me tell you. Okay, so this song technically was on that album, was released, I want to say it was released in December as a downloadable. Okay, available digitally on music streaming services December 1st of 2021. That's what it was. So if you look at the lyrics with this one, they wrote this in 2020. So we were looking at like pandemic stuff, I guess. It's very, the perspective of the vocal is almost irritated, agitated, like wanting to have something or wanting to do something or searching for something. There's that kind of anxious, angsty thing going on if you look at the lyrics, at least according to what I'm hearing. Musically, I think the song is just pleasing to the ear if you like this kind of music. But lyrically, it's almost a song of frustration is kind of what it sounds like. And from what they've said about it too, with the writing of it, that it ended up being heavier, full of emotion and frustration of like everyday life, which I definitely do see. And it was the first song they wrote on the record going back pre-pandemic, actually. So I'm not quite sure how they got all that emotion if it wasn't the frustration of the lockdown. Don't know what was going on with the guys at that point. But it was something. Okay, so the quote, and this is from Two Dudes Reviews. It was, we started jamming actually beside Neil's pool and it turned out really angry. I think it's a great tune. I think the fans are going to relate to it and it's going to be a fun one live. Okay, gotta love that. Now, this, being Canadian, we've got Canadian records here with this. So for the Canadian rock chart, they debuted at 41 and peaked at number 7, which is pretty darn good. Now, it also hit number 1 on the Billboard mainstream chart for the U.S., and it was there for 4 weeks. And then it hit 29 on the Hot Rock and Alternative songs. So that's also U.S. Peaked at number 11 on Alternative Digital Song Sales chart. That's not a chart I know much about, so I'm just telling you the information I'm finding, but there you go. And let's see, for year-end charts, this is kind of interesting. So for the U.S. Hot Rock and Alternative songs, it reached number 68 for 2022, year-end 2022. And it hit 17 for U.S. Rock Airplay, which is also a Billboard chart. So there you go. It was nominated for Rock Video of the Year with the MTV Awards, and Rock Song of the Year on the iHeartRadio Music Awards in 2023. The MTV one was 2022. This one was 2023. I don't know when they do their stuff. I don't keep track of which award shows are when, so I'm just giving you what you can find out there very easily by Googling it, basically. All right, that is pretty much what I've got for you. There's a whole thing about how the video was recorded, and they kind of have this retro vibe, so they use a particular lens to make it kind of gritty, blah, blah, blah. A lot of that is like, I like watching the videos, and the videos are cool, but I am not that much into it to know if that's significant to any of you out there or not, but you can always find that information. It's just Google a song and hit Wikipedia, and it'll tell you all about it. There's been different articles where they've been interviewed, and so there's information out there. You can find all kinds of fun stuff. So for your listening and viewing pleasure, I will be linking So-Called Life in the description box. You know I'm going to have Jessica linked. You know I'm going to have the Fantastic Ladies linked. You know I'm going to give you whatever it is that I can give you down there. I appreciate you spending a little bit of your time with me. Thank you so much for letting me get a quick video in here for you and give you a chance for another song. Until next time, everybody. See ya. Bye.